Oh, perfect. I was in regardless. So are we good? Macholi, we're good?
Bueno.
Dominique, we're good? Yeah. Well then, guys, it is Tech Thursday and Throw It Out There Thursday. We're going to be talking about some cool things. Also, going to be talking about the yard sale and a little bit of stuff that we have. But we're going to talk about what we have releasing for the Polaris RZR Pro R Ultimate. But in order to do that, we got to go over to Justin Smith.
Thank you, Steve, but you do have one more model that we want to make sure that we touch base on and say correctly.
Correct.
Right?
And
the second model is, Steve?
Polaris RZR Pro R Sport, which is the Walker Evans edition.
Yes, we have both of those to talk about because we're releasing everything that we've done as far as testing is concerned. We'll be able to show you all that kind of stuff here just in a little bit, but thanks for tuning in. Sorry I missed you on Tuesday. I was out of town, but we're back in town, so we're combining Tech Tuesday and Throw It Out There Thursday today with some tech on new products. And if you guys have questions, then definitely sign on and ask away. We will answer everything that we can. But the first thing, before we go outside and look at Pro Rs, Steve, let's go back to the yard sale. You guys, I know this is going to be, this may not be time sensitive in the next 10 weeks. We might have to edit this out, right, Camille, for later. But we have yard sale on Saturday, 6:30 till when we are done selling everything, which is probably going to happen in like 2 hours. So
hopefully.
It's gone. But what you guys haven't pointed out yet that everybody needs to know, it's like 28 pallets of stuff.
No. It's 40 pallets.
40. Okay, so
It was 40 pallets of. It's 40 pallets of shocks, and there's shocks for a C10. There's shocks for a Sportsman. There's shocks for a Terex. There's shocks for a Kawasaki Live Valve. There's Yamaha shocks for all you guys that love Yamahas. There's Harley shocks for all you brothers out there that ride motorcycles.
There's one
And
right there.
yeah, thank you,
That's
brother. There's you just got to come out and check out all the shocks because there is literally 40 pallets of shocks.
So we're going to be spreading all that stuff out super early. It's all going to be out where you can see it pretty easily. Most of the stuff is tagged as far as like if it's in a box, brand new shock, or used, either way. It is as is. It is cash. Show up, grab it fast. It's not going to last very long. We're making smoking deals. For instance, some of this stuff, I don't know what the Harley stuff costs. Let's just say it's like $800.
They're $800 to $1,000 for a set.
For a set.
For a set.
$400.
Bam!
Just like that. Ta-da! Drop that real quick. That's just one of the things that we're doing. It is literally, let's make a deal. I feel like I'm going to be Monty Hall. Have you ever watched that?
I haven't, but we could be like Oprah. You get a shock. You get a shock.
Everyone gets a shock.
That's how I'd like it.
But it is definitely going to be one of those days on Saturday. And if you're not interested in buying anything, just come by and check it out. It's going to be fun. But that's enough for the yard sale, right, Steve?
Well, actually, too, we're going to have a very, very plush couch for sale as well. So you guys should totally come by and buy that. And we'll have some office equipment and office desks, and then some race car
We have
stuff
some race
too,
car
right?
stuff. We have stock takeoff parts. We have race axles, complete. A few other things too. Different shock sets for different Can-Ams that we don't use on the race car that came on, say, a brand new car that we're not going to be able to use. So there's a lot of that stuff.
A lot of that stuff. And did I mention a plush couch?
It's your couch, right?
No, it's Mitchie's couch. I'm trying to help him sell it.
Oh, okay. Mitch's.
Two couches. Guys, there's two couches that
Actually,
I have personally sat on, and so is Justin.
I think that maybe we won't be selling the couch. It's just going to be our chair for the
hangout.
whole morning.
It's gonna be our hangout.
It's not for sale. All right, so enough of that.
Okay.
Pro R stuff. Let's go out in the shop. We got a couple Pro Rs you guys can take a look at, and we can show you some of the things on these that we've been testing. Oop, this way. Right behind me is actually one of, this is Ernie's Pro R, 4-seater. Oops, sorry, run into you. That we've been doing a few things on, obviously cages, doors, shock work, links. You can see some of the prototype parts that we've talked to you about that we're knocking out, like sway bar links. We have actually sway bars on their way. We have a whole slew of things on their way. You can see on, maybe not that one, but we've got tie rods we're in the middle of working on. We've got radius rods we're in the middle of working on. Toe link rear adjustment pieces that get rid of the cam over, eccentric cam adjuster that gets loose real easy. All of those things we're in the middle of working on, and they're going to be coming out over the next few weeks. More than likely, a new product every 2 weeks we'll be releasing for Pro Rs. But as of right now, let's go over here and look at this one behind us. Steve, just so that I do not say this incorrectly, this is a Walker Evans Shock Model Pro R, and what is that called?
This one is called the Polaris RZR Pro R Sport.
Sport, which comes with Walkers, and there is a Sport something that has the dash in it with Walkers, right? Forget the name of that. Let's just skip right past that. And then we have an Ultimate.
Yeah, and then there's another Ultimate, which is the the track, something, I don't remember.
It was Launch Edition.
Launch Edition, there you go.
So each one has different things. We're not going to get into those details, but basically, you've got a Walker Shock version, and you've got the Fox Live stuff. And the Live stuff is amazing when stock form compared to, I'm talking too fast. Let me slow down 1 second. If you take the Walker Pro R and you take the new Live Valve Fox, there really is no comparison in stock form how they ride. The Fox version is light years ahead of the Walker version from a ride quality standpoint, plush factor, what it'll put up with as far as a big hit is concerned, jump landings. Tires aren't on the ground very much on the Walker. It's kind of hard to control on high-speed corners, especially if there's some whoops. So if you're trying to decide which one you would buy new, and you do have both versions to choose from, we feel that the Fox version is well worth the money. It's night and day on how it works and how it rides. Steve?
Just to clarify, it was the Sport and the Premium is going to be your Walker Evans edition, and then it is the Ultimate and the Launch edition for the Dynamics.
There you go.
Just so we have the names out there.
Perfect. Now, what we've done with the Walker, tons of testing in stock form. Mitch, tell everybody how it rode and the things that we tried that we didn't like and the things that we definitely cured.
So I mean, start off with things we didn't like, I guess. Didn't like how stiff it was, how stiff it got super quick. The front of the car felt really low, no matter what you were driving it through. It was also very aggressive. When I say aggressive, I just mean slow speed, mid speed, high speed, anything you kind of drove it through. Just
rough.
Felt really rough and aggressive.
You know, one thing that you guys were talking about earlier that was a really good description, and that was that when you're going over stuff that's a foot tall, and it's actually round. In the real world, you're driving over something round. It felt like you were driving over a cinder block. Yeah. It would hit that round obstacle as if it was a square corner edge, right? Yeah. That's the kind of bite that it has.
Yeah, you felt it through the whole car, through your body, like through the steering wheel, everything. So definitely a big complaint for me on that, I guess.
And it packed a little bit, meaning that the rebound was, quite stiff, heavily valved, and the tire stayed up off the ground when you went over things.
Yeah. So the fact that the front stayed low and then the rear kicked up just kind of gave it a weird feel to the car too. So us nitpicking it, we wanted to kind of fix that first so we could get a better idea of what the car would do. But things we liked after we played with it a little bit, the spring kit was night and day, probably the best thing you could do to these cars alone. Just going from a stock standpoint to our spring kit. Steve was even there with us too. He got to drive it, and we took Brandon out as well, and he got to get kind of a feel for that too.
So how about, let me, putting this in like a scale of 1 to 10, if the factory Walker version is a 1, that's your baseline, how it rides, right? And a 10 is all the internals that we've thrown at it, all the spring kit, everything you've thrown at it. Where would you rate a spring kit on that range?
6 or a 7. Easily.
6 or a 7 just out of a spring kit.
It's insane.
That's pretty significant. I mean, normally spring kits are like a 3 or a 4, and the rest of it's in the internals.
Yeah. No, it was seriously impressive what it did and what it transformed it into. So.
Then internals.
Yep. Then we picked it apart even more. It definitely changed it. It made it a ton better. But I mean, got to make it even more different by going inside the shock and changing that. So. That's where we kind of got to the point where we got the rebound where we wanted it. We were able to plushing it up really good. Made it just overall different on that side too. So like 30 to 35 miles an hour plush factor in this car is insane. Like you put 2 people in it, you have a spare tire, tools, you can drive this car all day long through the roughest stuff, no problem. It is gonna be like you're riding on a couch.
So basically you were able to get it back to kind of where we normally like to see stuff pretty quickly. I mean, it took a lot of time.
Yeah.
But it's doable.
Oh yeah.
Where would you rate this one, riding the best it possibly can, compared to the factory live valve Fox version? Do you think they're similar or not quite as good?
They're similar. I would say they're similar. It's kind of a good question. I never really thought of it that way, but stock stock
Stock Fox.
Stock Fox side.
Okay,
versus,
right here
yep.
versus worked walker.
I'd say it's
A little below.
yeah. I mean, just the technology, the electronics and all of that are
Mm-hmm.
kind of what steps it way and above just a normal walker shock. So I don't even really think you can compare that. But I still think the Fox side of it is better from a stock standpoint when the walkers are completely done up.
So now that we've gone through the whole walker version, we've got spring kits, we've got shock internals that are ready to go, tested for all types of terrain, all types of driving styles, all types of weights, full load, half load, one person, all that stuff's already done. Accessories, no accessories, already done. On the Pro R Fox Live, Ultimate, or Launch, it in stock form, what would you pick out as the goods and the bads?
Goods, it was plush. You could drive it, no problem.
You can drive it slow and you can drive it hard. It rides great.
It was actually pretty impressive, and we kind of found ourselves at one point like, oh man, like,
What are we gonna do?
Yeah. But come to find out, there is a ton of potential left in a shock that, I mean, a car or two that we thought rode really, really, really good from factory. So, I would say the things that I didn't like about it, I guess, was, let's see, maybe the unknown of like what the adjusters are doing. You know, when we first got it, it was like flirting about it, you know? So figuring all of that stuff out, I guess, would be one of them. But ride quality wise, I mean, it still had normal issues, stock springs, so we're constantly adjusting ride height just to test the stock stuff. So you're always gonna have that issue there. Bucking, I didn't really notice a ton of that stuff with it. Honestly.
Only when it was set in the soft settings. I think when it was overly plush, you could probably, and you try to drive it hard, it's the only time you could ever get it to buck. But you shouldn't be driving it in the plush setting, like overly hard anyway. But it's something that we were able to do.
We did take it to the DNs too. We drove it out there. We were able to bottom it out a couple times out there, and we noticed too after 50 or so miles out there, we were bottoming out more and more because it was settling more and more. So,
Spring-wise,
yeah,
yeah, springs are going away.
yep.
So
Yeah.
first thing we did, jump right into the spring kit, and dial that in again with different driving styles, different locations, different weight and accessories, different amounts of people. So we have all of that stuff dialed in. We also have all those springs in stock, and that is something that no one else can say. The reason is, if you take a look at this front shock, is on the Fox stuff and on the walker as well, the factory spring diameter is 3 3/4 of an inch. Okay, that's the same as a rear bypass on like a turbo or a Turbo S or any of the Can-Am stuff, right? So any of the diameters that are that large, there isn't very much on the market available for short spring packages with the right rates. So you're not going to find this stuff anywhere. We actually had all of it made to do this, and we're going to be the only one with it. That also drives the price up just a little bit because the diameters are where springs start to get expensive. You ask, how much? Well, a X3 spring kit is it 920 or 940?
940.
940. Okay, we were able to increase our purchasing power with some of our vendors and drive the costs down. So we were able to absorb 90% of the cost increase with the spring diameters in this kit. So the kits are only going to be $995, right? $999, just under $1,000. So they're only going up $60 over a normal, say, X3 kit that doesn't have that large diameter spring on the front, because we were able to absorb a lot of it for you guys. Also, having the choices in short spring and high rates or low rates in these diameters is the hardest thing to get. You're not going to find any of the stuff on the market. We are the only one that has it. So spring, night and day drastic change. All of a sudden,
Even on the Fox, it was insane.
it was a giant change. I remember that we didn't think we were going to get much out of it, and then I was like, bam, this is huge.
Then we were like, now what are we really going to do something?
No, how do you make that even better, right?
Yeah, it was impressive.
Dom, what do you got?
Brock Randolph is asking, will this spring package work on the RZR Turbo R4?
So no, it will not. We do not have a spring package for that yet. We are working on that. It's just not ready yet. Soon. Answer is no at the moment.
At the moment.
Yep. So we started going into shock internals, and speaking of internals, I think we have some of them apart, so you can take a look. All right, what you got going? A couple of them apart.
Rear shocks.
You know what? Can you do me a favor?
What's that?
Can you pop the bypass out of that one while we were? Oh, you already have it out.
Yep.
Right over here.
Cleaned up
Okay.
everything.
Fucking badass. All right, guys. Here is some of the internals on the new Pro R. Obviously, we've got piston like normal. We've got a top out spring. This is the only thing that stops this whole assembly from clunking as the tire drops out and hangs on the shock is this spring. A lot of people ask why they need limit straps. That's because this spring is tuned for the factory wheel and tire. And as soon as you put a heavy wheel and tire on these things, then this is not stiff enough to stop that extension, and straps are a must. The Pro R looks small with 32-inch tires on it. Okay, it's gonna be a 35-inch tire car all day long, just like the 35s that are on that walker over there. That's a heavy wheel and tire package that you're gonna need a limit strap for to try and stop some of this clunk. When this clunks, it's basically pulling on this nut and this shaft right here. The whole weight of the wheel and tire is trying to rip that nut off, and that's what fails, especially in racing applications, if you let that thing clunk too long. So limit straps for the Pro R. Steve,
Yep.
are 1 week out?
We are 2 weeks out on
2 weeks
that,
out.
Justin.
Okay,
2 weeks,
2 weeks on
out.
straps. So internals right here. We've also got bypass tube. You guys ever wonder what a bypass tube looks like on the inside of one of these? They are aluminum tubes with side stacks that we can tune. Also, the port and hole diameters and locations are all part of the things that we are working on for this tune. We're not going to tell you to show you what it is.
Some super duper cool stuff for that.
Yeah, really, really badass stuff. Very tunable, patented parts are going to end up going on this. This one is stock. We're not showing you what we've done yet, just stock version. But if you guys don't know what happens, then this piston basically, this whole assembly is riding inside this bypass tube. And just the process of the piston going through the compression stroke is opening these side stacks and allowing oil to flow past the piston, hence bypassing the piston. And that's a tunable thing for what we're doing. That's about it for basics. Some of the electronics that are in these, we've obviously got a compression and a rebound live valve on these, which make them incredible. Incredible ride, incredible computer control, incredibly tunable. A lot of things coming out for the computer end of this very, very soon. Again, only from us. Mitch, what do you got?
Kyle74 said, can I make an appointment for a Walker Pro R car yet? And yes, you can. Definitely call into the shop, talk to the guys, they will get you set up.
Thank you very much for keeping that one apart. Appreciate it.
Not a problem.
So, yes, just as Mitch mentioned to you guys, we're taking appointments for all the Pro R stuff. We do not have spring kits for the Turbo R. Sorry about that, but we're working on it now. Dom, did you just have something real quick?
I got a question. At the yard sale, is there going to be any of our parts discounted for your?
So no, we don't really have anything there. Well, no, I take that back, because we do have some scratch and dent springs in one of 2 pallets worth. And if the right spring rates are in there and you would like to get a spring kit, we might actually dig through that. Mitch is laughing at me because he knows he's the one that's probably going to do that.
Yeah, it's going to be us. It's going to be us that have to dig through it.
So the answer is no, but if we've sold everything else, we might actually dig into the scratch and dent springs. Who knows? Mitch.
TF Fab asked, do you need a Turbo R2 seat to test?
Bring it.
Yes.
So how about yes?
Tyler,
Yeah, bring it on over, man. We'll knock that thing out. Absolutely.
that would be radical, dude.
Yes.
Radical.
Other things on the Pro R that Steve's going to remind me.
So
forget.
limit straps are 2 weeks, and then links are 2 weeks, and then we are going to hopefully release a new product about every month or so.
Yep.
On the thing, because we're in the middle of getting them made.
Yep. Then we have a whole slew of other things that are coming out for this that we haven't even mentioned. A lot of this stuff is computer electronic related, and some other things we've already mentioned, like radius rods that are just freaking sick. 1.5 inch diameter, 120 wall chromoly, machined billet machine ends, 7/8 rod ends, giant. I mean, it's making Steve hot in the pants right now. It's good stuff. Really,
It's big when you have a 7/8 rod end on a car and it looks like a 3/4.
and it looks small.
Yeah.
Does Ernie's car have any of those on it? Let's go look real quick. So here's a sneak peek of the chromoly radius rods that'll be coming out. On here, you'll notice chromoly tube, rosette welded, all tigged, 7/8 rod ends, which are massive. Maybe take a look right here. It's hard to compare unless we had a 5/8 one sitting next to it for you to go, hello. Like standard issue rear radius rods. Mitch will pull one out, our 5/8. We have 3/4 inch rod ends on pretty much all of our radius rod kits. Biggest on the market. This is a standard rod end for most radius rods. Look at that compared to, I mean, it's just a joke. The difference between a 7/8 and a 5/8. It's a massive part. We're talking basically like class 1, class 10, full tilt race car size components on all the radius rod stuff. Take one more look on this one. So uppers are adjustable, lowers are 7/8 uniball. Excuse me. 7/8 uniball, and this is a billet 4340 hardened chromoly cup assembly. What do we want to call that thing? We need to have a name for that. It's pretty bitchin'. It's combining a uniball cup with the threaded insert or bung. So it's like a unibung.
A unibung.
A unibung.
Ball bung.
A ball bung.
All right, trademark
Ball
that.
bung. Yeah.
Send it.
Hashtag
quick
ball
before
bung.
someone gets it. Dom.
So Brock Randolph is asking again, does the Pro R and the Turbo R, will they use the same limit strap?
They should, because the shock is the same dimension. But everything else about it's going to be tuned differently. It's going to be different spring kit and different internals. But the limit strap should be the same.
Should be. As soon as we get one, that'll be like the first thing that we figure out. So.
Yeah, I mean, we've already got that pretty much dialed for these, so it'll be, and some other parts, we'll just immediately take that right over and make sure it fits. And it should fit. So answer is probably yes. Get that one from your buddy right away. Fast as we can. So radius rods, there's a little sneak peek of that. We've got toe links coming very soon. Oh, one other thing. If you take a look at that one right behind us that we've already looked at again, okay, that's the Walker version. But notice, it's got 35s, but look how tall that thing sits. Okay, we are looking at a factory ride height of about 16 inches with a factory tire. Our spring kit and the rest, we're looking at about 18 inches. So you're going to gain about 2 inches of ride height with our spring kits. And then obviously you're going to gain another 2 inches going from a 30 or 1 inch from a 33 to a 35 like this one has. But you can see that everything fits. You can see that it kind of fits the car perfectly. I mean, behind you, those are 33s, and they look small on the car. So you're going to see a lot of 35s on these. Steve, anything else you want to point out?
I've got nothing else on my list, Justin.
Do you have 0 good questions today?
But I don't have anything on my phone. It's just my work phone.
Oh,
So I've just got the
I
notes.
see.
It's just these guys.
You have anything good, Dom?
Great, sweetheart. So Jason Reddish is asking about Mid-America in Oklahoma. Do we have enough appointments to bring the trailer?
Yeah, we do not have enough appointments for that, so it does not look very good for a trailer and doing the work. We will be there, though, with a display semi. And a bunch of guys, and I'll be there for a minute. Steve might show up. Hey.
I'll fly out.
All right. Mitch, you got any good questions?
Were we supposed to talk about something else, or is that everything on the notes?
That was everything on my notes, unless there was something. Did we talk about the yard sale?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
okay. No, that's all I got.
All right. You guys, it's just getting hotter, so we're probably not doing any more yard sales this year until the very, very end of the year. I would get on this one. There's a lot of good stuff. Dom.
How many pallets were there?
40.
40.
40 pallets.
40 pallets.
You guys realize how much that is? That's like 3 semi-loads.
So there
stuff.
was 46, but 6 of them came over to here, and we used those parts. So there was a bunch of stuff.
So it sort of turned into some 200, Razor 200.
Yeah, it
and
turned into
other
some
stuff.
cool stuff that's going to be cool for you guys.
Yeah, Mitch, what do you got? If the questions don't have to be good, how about any of them?
How far out are appointments for the Pro R cars?
You know what? Like, you can get in here pretty quick, man. 1 or 2 weeks, no doubt. No problem.
Let's see, rapid fire real quick.
You know what? And just so you guys know, in the summer, our appointment scheduling does shorten up because everybody's out on the boats, or on their boats. So do it now before you. That's what we're going to talk about.
So yeah, so dune season
Do
is the
it
same
now.
time.
Yeah.
Dune season is the same time every year, and every single year, everyone waits till the last month to get their car in, and they could have got it done.
They
while
call
it
us in
was done.
October, and they're trying to go to Halloween.
Yeah,
And we're already 6 weeks back.
it's the same time
So,
every year.
so here's PSA. All right.
Public service.
And that is get your stuff in here now while you have a chance to do it within a 2-week period, because you're not going to have that when we get into October. It's going to end up going out 6 weeks to 2 months. So don't leave your car in the garage while you're in the boat right now and forget about it. Get the car done before the season starts and
Forget
get ahead
about
of it.
it.
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
Mitch, what do you got for a question?
J Hubs, have you found any failure points on the Pro R?
Great question. We have run into 0 so far, but we're only 300 or 400 miles into our test car. We are taking our 2-seater to the Baja 500 next week, and it's going to get 1,000 miles shoved on it in really tough Baja terrain. We're going to have a lot more knowledge then. But from talking with the guys that race these things, Brandon Sims, Wayne Matlock, Kristen Matlock, there isn't much that they've run into. They've had, say, some tie rod issues, but usually once they make a big mistake, and we are making tie rods for the car to cure that.
Scout Racing says 2014 RZR 1000 is the top spring in the rear supposed to be completely compressed.
Stock, yes. Bone stock, brand new in 14. They barely had some gap between the spring, and within 200 miles they were fully compressed. Guaranteed it's compressed now, and that's the way they come.
Rip 39 off
Rip off.
Rip 39 off.
says, do you have a date for your rack for the X3 to be back in stock?
Good question,
Well, we'll let
because
Justin answer that one. They're
Okay.
trickling in.
they are. We got 18 back in stock today, but they're filling back orders. Next week we should get back up to where we have 50 racks a week coming in. So give us a week and a half, and we'll be back up to speed. I'm the one that said that, not you.
Yeah, he said it. So
when it doesn't happen, you guys can yell at me, not
he,
Steve.
He said it, not me.
But we have made a giant concerted effort in speeding up all of our rack production. The X3 rack takes 4 CNC machines full time to make all the parts for that, and that's it's never kept up. So we had to buy more machines to pick up the pace. That's what we've done, and now it's starting to trickle in at 50 a week. Mitch?
Daniel asked, I bought some shock therapy limit straps, but I'm wondering, is it supposed to rub on the spring on the lower bracket?
So maybe
what car would be the question?
Polaris with a bent lower bracket, maybe?
Is it with the,
And it does touch. We do that on purpose because if you move it off the spring too far, then it's going to rub on the tire with the wrong wheel offset. So we keep that tight on purpose. Shouldn't be an issue though.
and if it rubs and damages, it's a lifetime warranty.
That's right. If somehow screw it up, let us know.
A bunch of questions about Pro XP or Turbo R, Pro R versus Turbo R. All that
Like
stuff.
what?
Just Pro
Like
XP
which one would
or
you want?
Turbo R, question mark.
Pro XP or Turbo R? Turbo R all day. No. I go back. Let me go back. Okay, so I enjoy the speed of the Pro XP because it's lighter weight with a lot of power. It's much faster than a Turbo R. A lot of weight, same power. So I like the speed of that, but I like the suspension in the Pro. So kind of a toss up to me right now. They both do things differently, and they do different things well. Mitch.
Let's see. Blake
always got the
Mercedes
sound.
says, I have a Pro R Ultimate. What are you doing with the adjustments in your package? Can you adjust for short course, desert, dunes?
When people say short course, to me that means Lucas Oil, groom track, big air, cutting corners. Okay, short course means 8 inches of ride height, stiff as a board, no suspension. So if that's what you mean, no, we're never going to get that out of any of the adjustments that we're doing. If you mean something else, then describe it and we'll cover that. But dunes, desert, trail, absolutely you'll be able to do all of those with the same setting just by changing the adjustments in the computer for an ultimate. I think you said an ultimate, right? yeah, you're going to have plenty of range to cover all of those terrains.
Ramp Rat wants to know, does Tube Sock Steve have a birthday?
Yeah, it just happened. I turned 30.
Yeah. What,
30.
was that a couple weeks ago?
April 17th, yeah.
Ta-da!
It was on Easter. I had risen.
You've come back.
I came back, guys. Yeah, no, it was on Easter. Yeah, turned 30.
Very,
I know
very cool.
I know I look about 40, but I'm only 30.
Keeps getting carded at bars, so he tries to look older.
Yeah, it's
It's a secret thing
it's
he's
kind
doing.
of a thing. You had a question? Dom had a question.
what do you got,
actually.
Dom?
Dom had a question.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
Dom.
Will we be testing the speed car?
Oh, good God. Of course we will, once we get one. Actually, I was talking with Robbie about it just this morning.
Really?
I was. If you look at my phone right there, you will see a full conversation about that exact thing on my text.
Oh yeah, it's right there. It's cool.
Yes. Yeah. Things are coming along over there. He's kicking ass. I think the momentum is really picking up, and you guys are going to see some awesome stuff. Robbie's always got his hands full, and he does a great job of it. Mitch.
XP1000 or YXZ? Pops is looking for a budget car.
So that'd be XP1000, sir. All day long. There's things, short course. Speaking of, 8 inches off the ground,
Georgia.
No suspension, rides like a brick, send it in the air, turns sharp, but that's all it does. YXZ. I would do that in a heartbeat in short course. But if you're going to go play in the desert or in trails and stuff, then I would absolutely recommend an XP.
Okay, last question, because I've got a couple of them. Everybody wants to know how the race car is coming back together.
You know, good question. The front end is actually being tacked together right now. The chassis is over at Sean Geiser's, and they've kind of dropped everything to knock the front end out really quick. They, believe it or not, have a full cut list of everything on that front end, so they can literally press a button and spit out all the tubes and spit out all the plates and lay it all back up in the fixture, which is what they're doing now. I would show you a picture, but what you're looking at me on, my phone, has the pictures in it, so we'll do that later. But I would say 3/4 of the way tacked back together, and we'll be putting the car back together in about a week and a half to 2 weeks. But we're at the Baja 500 in 2 weeks, so I have to take that off. We'll be racing Ernie and Mitch's car. Mitch,
It'll never be the same. It'll never be the same.
are you upset?
I already said goodbye to her, so
You're sad?
I'm actually excited because it has finished every race, so it's going to be solid.
Yep. So we're racing Ernie and Mitch's stock class car in the 500 since we don't have anything else, and we're going to run the stock class for the 500 and have a ton of fun. It's going to be great.
Yep.
Does Sean over there at Geyser just have a Justin Smith button to reprint your front end because it's not numbered? you have your own file over there. He just hits.
If he doesn't, he should. He really should. I know he's getting sick of doing it.
Doing your front end.
Those guys kick ass. They do such a good job.
They're great.
You said last questions or question?
Okay, yeah, that's good. First recommended mod on a Pro R Ultimate. What would you do, Steve?
Pro R Ultimate.
Safety.
Well, yeah, I mean, safety first. You know, harnesses. Make sure everything. Do they come stock with harnesses?
They do.
Yeah, they do.
And they're pretty good.
Stock harnesses. I mean, cage. Get your seats, but then spring
First aid
would be the
kit.
first thing I'd do.
First aid kit.
Springs.
After that, okay. So
Sorry,
after all the boring safety
so
stuff,
all that
then
lame safety stuff, I would go with the spring kit. That'd
it
be my
is
first
such a
update.
drastic change.
Yeah.
It's a huge, huge change. It's worth
wakes it up.
every penny, and probably worth more than a lot of other spring kits because they usually are giving you this much difference. This really is a huge, huge difference for the money.
It's insane.
Both cars too come with crossovers, right? They come stock with crossovers.
Well, the Fox does for sure, and Walker Mitch does too. I didn't remember.
The Sport does.
So that means that the kits don't have to have crossovers in them, and that is one of the areas where we're able to drop the cost in the kit, but some other things as well. So the springs are pretty spendy. I have a feeling that most spring kits for these are going to be in the $1,200 to $1,300 range. They will not be here. We're going to keep it under $1,000.
Bam!
Take it.
Take it.
3
Mitch.
questions about shirt pockets.
What? Like, are we going to do shirt pockets?
Here you go.
The shirt is in the pocket right there.
I'd kind of love a shirt. That'd be kind of cool, but
What are you going to put in your pocket protectors and stuff?
I need a
No, my cell phone.
pocket on my shock there. Shirt.
is that Byron?
No,
Okay. Any other good questions?
Pro R Parts ETA.
We just said
What?
it.
We just went over all that.
2 weeks for limit straps and about 2 weeks for links, and then after that, about a month. Every month we'll release
Drop a new
hopefully a new
product.
part.
Yep.
New
So
product.
right now, springs, shock internals on the site. You can book appointments. Don't wait. Go there now. Since we're the only one with it, I bet you we will be booked up with every Pro R that's ever been sold, which isn't that many.
Which isn't that many.
No. That's probably a true statement, though. Good?
So where are they gonna purchase those products, Justin?
Well, you know what? That's a really, really good question, Steve.
there? See that
And the only person that knows exactly where you can buy everything that we sell is this man right here, Tube Sock Steve.
Oh, guys, if you're looking to buy anything from us, visit www.shocktherapyusa.com. Or if you have any questions, please call us at the shop, 623-217-4959.